You wanted to, I mean, you were touching on it. It seemed very interesting. I haven't listened to it yet, but something on Lee Anderson that you wanted to show us with regard to a video clip. Can you give us a little bit of context and shed a bit of light on what Lee Anderson has said?
Yeah, so Lee Anderson was on GB News recently in a bit of a sort of fiery debate over the benefits use of illegal migrants and of asylum seekers. Now, we always see this argument that asylum seekers are not able to get benefits in the UK. But Dan, what about hotels, £70 a week, a new phone, and the right to work as well? This all seems like benefits to me. It seems better than benefits, actually. So if you skip to about 30 seconds in this video.
30 seconds in?
Yep.
Anderson, I'm going to start with you. The numbers, I think, are simply eye-watering. 40% increase in 3 years alone, and 2 3/4 times more foreign nationals are unemployed now than when Tony Blair opened the floodgates in 1997. But the numbers are what really stand out. The universal credit bill, the annual bill to foreign nationals alone, we've estimated today, we have to estimate though and give us the real numbers, is minimum 10.8 billion, and it could be as high as 15 billion pounds per year. Have we lost the plot?
We have lost the plot, Martin. We've been consistently told over decades by politicians on the left and some on the right, the Conservative government were just as bad, that, you know, migration always has a positive impact on our economy, and we know now that it doesn't in a lot of cases. Nobody coming from a different country should be claiming universal credit. If they want to come, nobody wakes up in the morning in a foreign country and says, I want to go to the UK to make a positive impact. They come because they see something in our way of life which hopefully some want to embrace. They want to live by our rules and whatever. But at the end of that, Martin, there's that massive carrot there, isn't there, to come to this country, which is financial reward. A lot of these people are coming from poor countries, they're earning poor wages in their own country. They'll probably earn poor wages in this country because many of them are unskilled, but they tap into the universal credit, which tops the wages up. They bring the children up, and they end up costing our state a fortune. It needs to stop. And, you know, at Reform UK, we say, if you're a foreign national, you're not going to get universal credit. It's as simple as that.
Matthew Sadler.
So first of all, we've got to distinguish between people who are coming in because they have been invited into our country, so regular migration, and people who are coming in to seek asylum, some of whom will be economic migrants who want to work in this country, want to have a better deal than they are getting, say, in France at the moment. So there's an important distinction there. To start with, asylum seekers basically cannot access benefits for the most part. Their children might be able to, but asylum seekers can't.
Well, they get free houses, free hotels, free mobile phones, free food. Do you want to stay two blokes to a room in a hotel on £7 a day?
Don't come in
I
the
don't
first
want to
place.
do that.
Illegal migrants cost the state £41,000 a year. And if you don't want to stop in a hotel room with another illegal migrant, then don't come here in the first place, stay in France.
The government's policy, you're one of your old parties, the Labour Party, the government's policy is to stop the boats, right? So that is the situation as things stand. On the question of people who have come here legally and invited into this country to make a contribution, or perhaps at times because they are a dependent, whatever it is, there are different ways people come to this country. At some point, if they are legally and reasonably here and they fall on bad times, or like any of us Brits, they become unemployed, whatever it is, we don't want them ending up on the street, do we?
No, we want what we want, Matthew, is for people, when they come to this country, is to work and make a positive contribution.
Agreed.
Once that time stops and you can't make a positive contribution to our country and pay into the coffers, I'm sorry, go home.
So you've been here let's say you've been here for a decade, 20 years, whatever it is, you've been paying into the system, you've been contributing, you've been a law-abiding member of the community, and you then, like anyone, like some of your constituents, become unemployed. You suddenly throw them out.
But these people we're talking about now, what Martin's
just home.
The people we're talking about now have not been in this country that long, Matthew. They see a particular way of life, a benefit culture in this country. They come, maybe they do a few hours work or whatever, and then they end up on universal credit. They end up working 16 hours a week. They're milking the system, and quite frankly, this is an insult to every hard-working British man and woman that gets up in the morning and puts the shift in. It's their money that they're sponging.
Are you talking about people who have come here because they've been invited to come here, or are you talking about people, for example, who are coming here on the boats?
Well, both.
But if you're an asylum seeker, you don't
Matthew,
have access.
an asylum seeker costs the state
benefits.
£41,000 a year.
And
People
that's
in
why the government's
Ashfield,
trying to stop it,
people
isn't it?
in Ashfield do not earn £41,000 a year. Their average age in Ashfield is about 28 grand. Some young lad coming over on a boat today will cost this state £41,000
What would you be doing? Because
a year.
if you've only got 5 MPs at the moment, because
We've got 4, Matthew.
I thought you got 5 now.
It's one.
haven't you?
It's 4.
You don't know how many MPs you've got.
We've got
5.
4.
I thought you got 5 because you got a new MP, didn't you, in a by-election? So you got
How
5.
many have we got, Martin?
You got 5. You don't know how many MPs you've
We've
got.
got me, we've
How
got
long have
Sarah,
you
we've
been
got
on
Nigel,
holiday?
we've got Richard, we've got 4, Matthew.
I thought you had 5.
You've got 4.
Let's get back to
But
the
anyway,
argument, lads.
however many MPs you've got, you're leading in the polls, aren't you?
Yes.
You're 10 points up, say, roughly,
Yes.
on Labour. So there is a chance, I still think an outside chance, that you could be in government in 4 years' time. In that horrendous scenario, Lee Anderson, what would you be doing in the real world when the buck stops with you and Martin Daubney is turning the heat on you because you are the Home Secretary? What are you doing for these boats?
Stop
What are you
them.
going to do? How are you going to
Turn
do
them around
that?
the same day.
You
Matthew,
know
we've
that's-
had this.
you know that is not gonna happen. We've had this
had this
conversation
argument
so
many
many times.
times. I've had this argument
And you
with
don't have the
Labour
answers.
MPs, with left-wing agitators like yourself. I've had this argument many times. It's time for this country to grow a backbone and do what they did in Australia and turn the boats back the same day. And if that means having to stand off with France, I've said this many times, then so
Lee Anderson.
what? Look, I do not want rapists
That's
and
nonsense.
murders
Now we're
and
moving on to
terrorists coming into
rapists.
our
Now we're
country,
moving on to
and we put them in
rapists and-
four-star
rapists
hotels.
and murderers and terrorists should.
They're
terrorists
coming. They're
have
coming into
no
our country,
right to
Matthew.
be in our country.
And
They should
people
all be
like you-
banned. They should
One
all
at a
be
time,
banned.
gents. One at a
Sorry.
time,
Well,
please.
yeah, well,
You're
people
so-
like no.
You're panicked.
No,
You've panicked.
Matthew. We are literally importing
You've panicked.
rapists and murderers
You've-
into this country, and left-wing, liberal, limp-wristed do-gooders like yourself.
Limp-wristed? What is that? A
Liberal
homophobic
do-gooders.
slur?
No, it's not nothing to do with being
What do you
homophobic.
mean by limp-wristed?
Liberal.
Limp-wristed? Do you
Yeah.
mean like that's an old-fashioned homophobic slur?
Not in my
I happen
territory,
not
it's
to be
not.
gay, but I find that deeply offensive, as will
Well, you can-
many
you
of
can
your
feel
viewers.
whatever- you
Many
can feel
viewers.
whatever offence
Lee
you
Anderson,
want,
let me
Matthew.
just make the point, because it's my turn now, isn't it? Right. So you have moved from people coming over here on boats and me challenging you by saying there is no way in
I
the
never
real
mentioned
world,
the
if
boats,
you
Matthew.
become Home
I never
Secretary, that you're
mentioned the
turning them...
boats.
Yes, we were talking about that.
No, you mentioned the boats, not me.
I've got to be able to have my say.
You mentioned the boats, Matthew.
Lee
not
Anderson,
me.
Lee Anderson, let me just make the
Matthew.
point. I have challenged you by saying if you were a Home Secretary of this country, which is a possibility,
Yeah.
you will not be turning those boats around the same day,
Why?
having a standoff in France,
Why?
because it's fantasy it won't happen,
Why?
because the French won't allow it and you don't want to go to war with France. That's the first point. When you
dear,
panic because you know that's the truth, and Martin Daubney will be giving you hellfire, interviewing you when the buck stops with you, because this is a problem that is going to go way beyond this Labour government, you suddenly start talking about rapists. You suddenly talk about murderers. I mean, how did you get from people coming over in boats to rapists and
Shall I
murderers?
tell you how? Shall I tell you how, Matthew?
You
Come on,
haven't got the
Matthew,
first clue
Matthew.
of how to deal with the
Shall
problem.
I tell you how
Lee.
I got to that conclusion? We've just had a young lady in Ashfield raped. The perpetrator is now in police custody. Well, he's in jail awaiting trial.
So he's not a perpetrator then.
What?
You're talking about a live...
Alleged.
You're talking about
He's the
let's be
alleged
careful.
Yeah,
perpetrator.
you're talking about a live case.
This is an
He's
alleged live
alleged
case.
perpetrator. Let's get it right. Alleged. He's now, he's in custody. He's in prison for raping a young girl in Ashfield. And
Sorry.
we know this has gone
I'm
off
not talking about
around
live cases.
the country.
I
We
won't
know it's
talk
gone
about
off.
live
We know
cases.
okay.
Any
Okay,
rapist,
Matthew.
moving away from that, any
What about the
rapist
people
or
that's been
any
convicted
rapist
of
or
rape?
paedophile or murderer
Yeah.
has no place in our society.
Really?
They should be in prison. But to conflate a rapist, and I'm not talking about this particular case, to conflate a rapist with the many people who shouldn't
Let's
be
not
coming
talk
in
about
boats.
any live cases,
No, exactly.
gentlemen. We don't
Yes.
get taken off air.
Yeah,
Carry
just
on.
be incredibly careful. You're an MP, you have huge responsibilities.
I don't
But
have to take advice from you,
you're
Matthew
You're
Salmon.
starting
Listen,
to,
Matthew
yes, because we
Salmon.
all live under the law,
Listen,
whether
Matthew,
we're MPs or
I'm
not.
a member of Parliament. I'm elected by the good people of Ashfield.
And you're not above
My
the law.
vote share went up
And you're not above the
tremendously.
law.
I don't have to take advice
You're not
from
above
you
the law, are you?
about being a
You're
member
not
of
above
Parliament.
the law.
I don't take
so
advice
just let's
off
please
you.
not conflate people who are seeking asylum here, or indeed economic migrants who should not be coming in that way. I completely agree. And as I repeat, the government's policy is to stop this. Let's not conflate
Why
these
is it
people
then,
with
Matthew,
rapists.
that when
Because
we
that
have
is
these-
divisive and it is sowing
Why
the
is it,
seeds of
when we
hate
have
and
these
fear?
these migrant hotels set up in various parts of the country, why is it the crime rate rockets? Why is that?
I haven't got your statistics, Lee.
No, you won't have, will
Your
you?
statistics
You'll be
sound to
hiding.
me like they're word of mouth.
Yeah.
Let's deal, if we're going to talk about data, let's deal with facts. Let's not say why is it that this happens when this happens. That's not based on real
gentlemen,
evidence.
I'll come back in. So Matthew, are you saying
that nobody that's in an asylum hotel commits a crime?
Of course not.
Are you saying that nobody's
course
capable
not.
of sexual offence or
Of
rape?
course
Are you
not.
saying that people from different cultures don't hold different values and therefore may be a risk to Britain?
Do I want to?
Brits,
Do
yes
I
or
want to
no?
live in Iran or Afghanistan or some other countries in the region? Of course I don't. Do I think that there are very negative attitudes towards women in some of these countries? Yes.
So there we go.
And do I think that we should have large-scale immigration from countries such as that? We cannot absorb an unlimited number of people. These people, when they come as 25-year-olds,
Sounds
some
like
of
you,
men...
Lou.
Yeah,
No, hang on.
it does.
No. Let me
Sounds like a reform man,
let me make the point. I believe in, broadly speaking, British values. I believe in the British education system. And if you come as a 25-year-old, you don't get educated in the ways that we have. We have our own issues, by the way. We've got an endemic in this country of violence against women, domestic violence. You get hundreds of thousands of children who seem to be sexually abused in this country a year. The vast majority, of
women
course,
in
by
this country,
British
mate. You've
people.
had your say,
So we
now,
have our
mate.
own
You've
issues.
had your
We have
say,
our own
mate.
Let me
issues.
have a go now.
You've
Go on.
had your say, mate, and we have literally women and girls in this country terrified in some of our towns and cities now, where we've got these migrant hotels set up. They're being abused, they're being jeered at, they're being shouted at, they're being photographed, and they've had enough. And people like yourself and this awful government we've got stand by and do absolutely nothing.
What do
We
you
have a
stand
duty.
by?
We have a duty in this country to protect not only our citizens, but, you know, first and foremost, our women and girls. And at the moment, they're very, very vulnerable, and it's getting worse and worse and worse.
The problem for women and girls in this country, in the vast majority, is from the homegrown
here we
population.
go.
But I don't hear you speaking
not-
about that.
Listen,
You're trying
Matthew,
to conflate
listen,
immigration.
absolute rubbish.
Gentlemen.
Absolute rubbish.
Gentlemen, we've got to move on.
So yeah, thoughts on that? I mean, it was a long debate there, but for certainly pretty fiery. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there, you know. Bloody hell, this you know, it was getting heated, and you know, this Matthew Stadlen, which is the other guy that's not Lee Anderson, he said a couple of things that I really was confused about. He kind of backtracked on his own statements. He said, you know, you're not allowed to conflate this immigration with the sexual violence, and yet he also agrees that the cultures that they're coming from are very negative attitudes towards women. So again, it's a complete counter. He just goes back on his own words straight away. And he also said that, you know, France, you can't turn the boats around. France won't allow it, and you don't want a war with France.
Yeah.
Who says that? I mean, we're not scared of them, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. Sometimes just showing, you know, flexing your muscles and just saying, take them, they're yours. That's it.
I mean, so is he saying that we're not allowed to make laws on our own sovereign country because we're scared of what France might do?
Yeah, I know. I mean, as I said, you know, if individuals in Napoleon was something invasion, we've been toe-to-toe with France in the past, and that's never been a problem.
Exactly. We've got a bit of a favourable history there, you know.
Admiral Nelson, of course, back in the day.
Yeah.
Trafalgar, you know, one of those. I mean, it's about flexing your muscles, essentially, and just say, no, we're not taking your shit.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, we
that's it.
completely, you know, helped France to be liberated in World War II. I mean, the least they can do is not flood our country with foreign nationals.
Because this is what I'm saying with France. It's their problem. They haven't got secure their borders, so that's why they have a build-up in Calais of coming over. So actually, the boats going across is actually like, you know what? They're getting out. They're no longer our problem. So yes, that's why they kind of endorse it. But if they had security of their borders in the first place, then that's that. Us sending the boats back to them and saying, no, you have them. And if you start pissing us off and start allowing this, then there's going to be a bit of trouble here. Then we'll go, okay, shit, we need to get secure of our borders, otherwise we're going to get overflown.
Yeah.
So then all of a sudden, you'll be like Poland, where they have the military on the borders. You'll be like Hungary, where they have the military on the borders, and take your own borders into your own hands. And then they won't have the problem. Then they're pushing them back to the bordering countries there. And then they're going to go, oh, wait, we've got all of them now. And then they're going to go like that. So it's setting a precedent. So it's not actually a negative thing about flexing your muscles a little bit. And what are France going to do? Directly go battle with us, or go, oh, no, actually, we should use our own military and secure our own borders on that side so they stop coming in. Then we won't have to have a fight with Britain. We won't have to have a fight with other countries and keep them on side. And we can secure our own borders at the same time.
Exactly. It's this domino effect that we know that we can start. We
Yeah.
are the first domino.
Yeah.
You know, the end goal for these illegals is to get to the UK.
Yeah.
They're not, the illegals aren't going out of the UK anywhere.
Yeah.
Where are they going to go? Nowhere.
Well, Ireland.
Well,
Fair.
Ireland, but they're
Yeah.
going to get bloody flown over or shit
Yeah,
or
yeah,
something
yeah.
because we're overrun. The point being is that we are the first domino, and you are absolutely spot on there. If we control our borders to France, France will control their borders to Germany, Germany to wherever.
Yeah.
Is it Hungary or, you know, so on and so forth. You know, this starts with us, and it starts with our relationship with France.
Exactly.
And we cannot be scared of France because at the end of the day, we have leverage. We have the bigger economy. We have more people, you know. They need us. We
Yeah.
don't need them.
Yeah.
And if they put sanctions on the UK, guess what? We've got America on our side. And I guarantee you, to my death, that America will put sanctions on them and on the EU. And is that a war they want?
No.
Because America, we are our closest ally and they're our closest ally to us. They will fight our wars as well. They will do economic sanctions and their complete economy will be crushed. So guess what? This is a war that's worth fighting. To keep the sovereignty of our nation, we cannot be scared of France.
Yeah, exactly. And it would work. So what Lee Anderson is saying is absolutely correct. And this left-wing political commentator or whatever, he's talking absolute nonsense.